So I'm sure everybody has heard via Ring Magazine, and now quite a few other sources are putting it out there, and that is that looks like it's official. Tank Davis versus Jake Paul, November 15th. That's a special date for me. You know, in that report, it said, "Hey, man, this fight was made after negotiations between Jake Paul and Anthony Joshua fell apart." Look, Combs, let me tell everybody this, dog. There is no way in hell Jake Paul was really going to fight Anthony Joshua. Was not going to happen. Jake Paul is smart. Think of him all you want, but he's smart. He was never going to fight Anthony Joshua. He was putting himself in negotiations just to kind of make it seem, just to put himself out there, man, of like, yeah, you know what, look, I am trying to make some of these fights happen. But this dude ain't really going to fight any of these real dudes, dog. It ain't going to happen. No, nor should he. Nor should he. He's not on that level. So, but he's, you know, keeping himself relevant, putting himself in these negotiations and, you know, calling out guys like Zurdo Ramirez. He ain't never going to fight Zurdo. He will never fight Zurdo. He's nowhere near that level. But he'll, you know, call him out and say, like, hey, you know, he looked kind of slow. I'm calling him out. We could get into, you know, a little bit of BS negotiations, knowing that he's not going to fight that dude. I mean, the guy had lost to Tommy Fury. And by the way, this is coming from somebody who's a fan of Jake Paul. Unlike so many people, I actually like Jake Paul. I do. He is nowhere on their level. Nowhere. These dudes will kill him. Like I said, he lost to Tommy Fury. I never seen Tommy Fury fight until he fought Jake Paul. And he's fought after that. I've never watched his fights. I never even knew who Tommy Fury was. I didn't know Tommy Fury even existed until Jake Paul. So to think that he's going to fight one of these top dudes, come on, homie, chale, dog. You know, there's a whole Andre Ward calling out Anthony Joshua. I think that's more likely to happen. I'm not saying that's what's going to happen. I'm saying that's more likely to happen than Jake Paul getting in there with Anthony Joshua. Now, when it comes to the whole Tank Davis thing, you know, we touched on it a little bit about the Heine dropped the charges. You know, what's going to happen. This fight between him and Lamont Roach was already supposed to take place. And it's not going to happen. Tank Davis had announced that this is his last year. This right here is his last year. And if he's not going to get a big payday, it's not going the way he wants it to, right? And having a draw against a Lamont Roach, that wasn't really in the plans for him. So now this fight, right? Where does this leave Lamont Roach? Honestly, man, I think it actually brings more eyeballs to Lamont Roach. Now, having the rematch happen and have Lamont Roach beat Tank, I think would help him more. But in reality, I think this tarnishes Tank Davis, and this actually helps out Lamont Roach, right? Kind of feel bad for Roach a little bit, because reality, damn, he earned that rematch. He earned that rematch. And everything that took place in that fight, the taking of the knee, the, you know, going to the corner illegally and getting wiped off, you know, it's just, it was very unfortunate, man. So it's going to be an exhibition match, right, between Tank Davis and Jake Paul. I mean, it's a super clown show. The only good thing about it is that it's going to be on Netflix, so it's not going to be pay-per-view. They're going to have to stack the undercard with some really good fights, some real actual fights, because this is a little bit of a clown show. Tank Davis is an actual boxer. He is an actual boxer, so he should be able to light up Jake Paul. He should be, you know. I don't know if he'd be able to knock him out, because Jake Paul is a huge dude compared to Tank Davis. But For whatever it's worth, I think it is somewhat competitive due to the size difference. But this undercard has to have some good fights, real fights, right? Because we all know there's a clown show. And here's the thing. When it comes to Jake Paul fighting Anthony Joshua, the reason why that fight cannot happen and be, an actual fight is because Anthony Joshua, he's not a menso, homie. All right, he's not a pendejo. He takes care of his money. The dude is not in need of money. To pay Anthony Joshua off to say, hey, take it easy on Jake Paul. Dog, Anthony Joshua is not hurting for Fedia. He's not. He's a smart dude. He's taking care of his money. He's made a lot of money and he's very responsible with his money. So to think that you could just make it rain and pay Anthony Joshua off, that ain't gonna happen. Now somebody like Tank Davis, who does need money, who's not responsible with his Fedia, yeah, a guy like that you can pay off. But somebody like Anthony Joshua, you can't pay that dude off, man. You're gonna have to pay him. Good gosh, dog. We're getting into the hundreds of millions of, to pay that dude off so he could throw the fight. Because he already has a lot of money and he's very responsible with it. But somebody like Tank Davis, who's not responsible and has had a lot of legal issues, and this stuff hasn't come cheap. Yeah, you could, throw a couple of bucks at him and pay him off. So it's a clown show. They're definitely gonna have to stack that undercard. It's an exhibition fight. The only good thing about it is that it's on Netflix, so it's not pay-per-view. But hey, there you guys go, man. What's your guys' thoughts on this whole fiasco? I mean, it's two dudes, man. I just, Tank Davis. I rarely use the word duck, but in this case, he's not going to run it back with Lamont Roach. This is it for Tank. This is it for Tank. I'm actually more upset at Tank than I am at Jake Paul. Because Jake Paul, this is what he does. This is what he does. So I'm not even really that upset at Jake. But Tank Davis, damn, dog. Damn, this is how you're going to go out. Your final year in boxing, according to you, your final year, you moved a fighter up from 130 to 135. You illegally took a knee, right? Which should have been called a knockdown. So it's not illegal to take a knee, right? That's on the referee. But you illegally went to your corner, got wiped off, and that fight was ruled a draw. Okay? And now you're going to fight this guy, Jake Paul, in an exhibition match. Damn. You guys let me know what your guys' thoughts, man. Choco los tres chingones, boxing shots, all the chingones y chingonas. Catch you guys all next round.